Hi, my name is Natalie, and I've been teaching and practicing tantric meditations and healing for the past 10 years. And I do private sessions with men, and I help them with different issues they have in their sexuality, but I do it from an emotional perspective and point of view. As in the world of energies, emotions are energy in motion, as Joe Dispenza said. So we know that our emotions are part of our energy. And so that's how I help people with their sexual issues. You know, when they talk to me, they usually ask me, do you treat premature ejaculation? So I'll be like, have you checked this medically? Have you gone to a doctor? First make sure that it's not anything physical that requires medical attention. And then if it's not something physical, it might be something emotional. And then we can start digging deep and see what kind of negative emotions have been connected to sexual energy, because of early childhood and adolescent experiences that we had with sexuality. A lot of the times, if we had bad experiences in our childhood, the negative emotion that was created there is kind of glued together with the sexual energy. And then for the rest of our life, every time the sexual energy comes up, we're going to also feel that negative emotion, and it's going to affect our sexual energy and our sexuality in a bad way. So that's how I kind of connect the emotional work with the sexual dysfunctions and issues that people want to work on with themselves because they're not satisfied with their sexual activity or sexual life. And today I wanted to talk about the connection between crying and sexual energy, because when we talk about, some men have told me that they find it very hard to ejaculate and to orgasm at the end of the sex. So, we have the premature ejaculation, we get that like 10, 15 seconds and it just happens. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you have men who can have sex for an hour and a half, and they cannot orgasm. They can't reach the climax. Something is stuck. And that kind of reminds me of a lot of women who during sexual interactions, they have sexual energy in their body, they're having fun, they are experiencing the pleasure, but they can't experience the climax. So the sexual energy is running inside of their body, but they can't reach the orgasm. They can't let go for long enough to just let the energy come up as it does when we come or orgasm in sex. And a lot of those people also have issues crying. So, we are taught from childhood that crying is not good. Although as children, we cried all the time because children are very sensitive, emotional beings. And we were also sensitive and emotional beings when we were kids, whether you're a man or a woman. We were all young kids and we were very emotional. We cried a lot. Babies cry in order to signal their parents that they need something. And kids cry also to signal their parents, they're sad, they're happy, they're hungry. Crying is a good thing. If a baby comes out and it doesn't cry, that means there's a problem. If a child doesn't cry, that means there's an issue. Crying is a good, emotional, healthy release that children experience, and it's a way for them to express their emotions in order for their surroundings to treat them in the right way according to whatever emotion is, currently in their system. So if a child is sad, the only way he'll get the attention he needs from the adults around him is by crying. It's a natural, healthy system that works inside of our body. And then we reach elementary school and we are taught not to cry. You're at school now, it's in the middle of the class. The teacher's not your mummy. It's not our job to, hug you when you cry. You need to learn to hold it in. And then we learn to stop crying. And what does that mean, to stop crying? It means that we are suppressing our emotions and we're holding all our emotions inside, and we won't let anyone see it, and we won't even let ourselves express it. And that's how we start suppressing our emotions and our energy, and then it gets blocked inside of our body. In the energy world, water is emotions. So it's also feminine sexual energy, but it's also emotions. And when we cry, we are experiencing a release of all these emotions and energies that want to leave our body because they're causing us a lot of distress and pain. So when you have a good cry, you're going to feel better afterwards. Not because crying fixed anything. It's not going to fix anything. It is going to fix the way you feel. That's the only thing. It's not going to fix anything in the outside world, but it will fix something in the inside world, and it's going to help us feel better because it's a release, and the release is of something that was there and we don't want it to be there, and it's causing us pain and grievance, and it's stuck inside of us. And then when we cry, it comes out. So the ability to cry is actually not an ability, because, you know, kids just do it all the time. They weren't taught how to cry. You don't need to learn how to cry. What do you need to learn? Well, you need to unlearn what they taught us as kids. So the thing that we learned as kids was to stop the crying. So the crying just comes up. It's just another emotion that's coming up, and we learned how to stop it. So we push it down, and then sometimes we'll feel like pain in our throat, and we need to like really hold it in, and then it goes away. But the thing that we learned was to stop the crying. So we need to unlearn that. And we can do that in meditation. We can put some sad music in the background. We can remember all, you know, sad things or bad things that happen to us in our life. And we can actually allow ourselves to feel the bad and negative emotions that are coming up, and then start to notice that when the energy comes up and reaches the throat, our body immediately shuts it down. And then instead of shutting it down, let's try and letting it go instead, and letting the tears come up. And at first it might be a tear or two, but eventually we want to be like, like full on crying, not for no reason. We have many reasons to cry. Believe me, if you're 20 or 30 or 40 or 50, doesn't matter how old you are, you have so much of this emotional baggage inside of your system that is just stuck there. So at first the crying might feel weird and you're not used to it. But eventually, if you let it keep happening and you do this as a practice, this is an emotional practice, eventually we'll have like really strong, like 15, 20-minute sessions of crying like a child. And that's how we reconnect to our inner child. It's how we reconnect to our emotions. It's how we express our emotions. It's how we give them space, how we give ourselves space. We're allowed to feel these feelings. And I think that for women, it might be easier to cry because it's more expected of us. And even as kids, boys are told off more than girls in everything to do with crying. And it's kind of okay for a woman to cry, although I have met a lot of strong women who will not cry either. And that this is also an exercise that I gave them. But I think for men, it's harder because men want to appear strong and powerful and stable and balanced. And crying is this like neurotic, hysteric thing that our Western society does not have any patience for. So a man who cries is a weak man. And so, you know, besides the fact that they taught us as kids to stop crying, with boys and men, it's even harder because, you know, okay, so we don't cry in the public areas, but what happens when we're by ourselves? It's just me and you. Even then, men won't cry. And it's very hard for them. And I don't think that a lot of men are even aware that they're doing this. They just think it's a normal thing. Like, I have these emotions and then I swallow them and I push them back inside my body and I don't cry. And it's just like a social, cultural thing that men, like weak men, cry. I feel that it's very manly to cry. It's very sexy to cry. It's a sign that a man is connected to his emotions, that he knows how to give his emotions the right space. And if he can do that with himself, he's definitely going to be able to do that with me as a woman. So I find that sexy. If it's a man who's just crying everywhere he goes, I might find it weak. But if it's a man who, in our intimate one-on-one conversations, allows himself to actually express his emotions, whether with words or with tears or asking for a hug, I think that makes a man so much stronger than someone else who's doing everything he can to hide his emotions and suppress his emotions. I can tell you as a woman, I feel other people's emotions. If a man is standing in front of me and he feels something, but he's not saying that's what he feels, I feel it. So he's lying to me. I would rather you just be honest with me and tell me what you're feeling, and let's cry together and we'll pass it. Like, we'll move on. But for me as a woman, it's very important that the person in front of me who I'm going to have sex with is honest with me and is open with me about his emotions. And he can't do that with me if he's not like that with himself. So crying sessions are a good way to start to open the channels of the emotions in our body, to allow the emotions to start to leave our body, all these suppressed emotions we've been carrying for years. It's time to let them go. Every crying session will take off so much weight, you know, energetic and emotional weight that you're carrying with you all the time. And it's releasing, and it helps us to feel better. And I think that if you have issues orgasming or climaxing during sex, it might be because you have a problem crying. So your entire system is very used to like suppressing everything and pushing everything down. So it pushes your tears down and your sadness down, but it also kind of pushes down your sexual energy, and it won't allow you the release that you want. And the thing that's blocking it is kind of like the protector inside of us. It's like our survival instincts, the subconscious that has learned from the environment in the first few years what is safe, what is not safe, and we kind of learn how to survive. And part of our survival mechanisms is this thing that kind of shuts the emotions down. So this thing initially was created to protect us, but now it's actually preventing us from experiencing all the emotions we want to experience, and it might even be preventing us from experiencing nice, long, fun orgasms. So it's the same system, and instead of like having sex for hours and trying to make yourself come, maybe try a few of the crying sessions and see how that affects your ability to orgasm in sex afterwards. And this is for men and for women. If you have a problem climaxing, try doing a few of the crying sessions, put a sad song, look at old pictures, remember some of the bad things that have happened to you before, and just sit with it and allow the emotion to come up and allow it to come out in tears. Sometimes people need videos, they need movies, TV shows, like something from some kind of sad stimuli from the outside to cry, and that's fine. If you can watch a sad movie and then allow the tears to come up, but once they do start coming up, it's not about the movie anymore, just let it come out. Like, you have to let go, because even when we watch movies, sometimes I'll see people like their eyes are wet, but they're like, serious. They're like holding it in. So if the movie allows the tears to come up, that's great. But then just go into your crying session and maybe lie on your back or lie in bed and just cry. Let it all out and see afterwards how your sexual experiences change. Because for me, and for a lot of people that I work with, this thing has actually changed their life. It's a game changer. It's allowing myself to feel my feelings and to express my emotions and to give space to what I'm feeling. And if I can do that with the negative emotions and the crying, it will probably be easier for me to do it with the positive emotions and with the pleasure and the orgasms in sex. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you did like my video, please like and subscribe to my channel. I do upload these, I don't want to say daily, but I upload a lot of these videos. I'm trying out new things. It's a new channel. And, you know, I'm talking about all the different topics and subjects that I'm familiar with, and I'm seeing like what people like, what you're interested in. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And yeah, that was it for today. Thank you for listening. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in my next video.